Special Education News Channel. My name is Rachel Coast, and thank you for joining me in today's topic. The topic comes from the book called Contemporary Issues in Special Education. The authors of this book are Ashley L. Renee Hershey and Tony Mild. We'll be focusing on Chapter 13 this week. This chapter asks the question, Behavior Issues in School. Is medication the answer? Why is this an issue? Well, one reason this is an issue is figuring out when to give the student medication. How bad do they need to be behaving in order to get the medication? Who determines when it's appropriate to administer the medication? Who is the one to administer it? Does the child need to be monitored after the drug is administered? If so, should it be done by the school nurse, the hospital? Where should the medication be stored, etc.? Questions like that. Another reason this is an issue is because medication should not be heavily relied on. Teachers need to help students work on behavioral problems, help them to learn coping mechanisms, because if we only give them medication to deal with their behavior, they will never learn how to control their behavior without medication. Why did I select this issue? I selected this issue because I think educators need to work on helping the student to deal with behavioral issues. I think teachers need to help students to learn coping mechanisms when faced with something upsetting. This way they can learn how to self-regulate themselves instead of being given medication for undesired behavior. I think medication should only be given to students for their behavior if they are in danger of hurting themselves or others. I don't think we should over-medicate our students by giving them medicine for just acting out. I think it is up to the IEP team to figure out when medication should be used, where it should be stored, who administers it, etc. I think communication with the IEP team is crucial for medications to go well for students. My co-host is late, but she just came in. It's Cupcake. Okay. 5 cons for medication for behavioral problems at school. One con, according to Renee Hershey and Mild 2020, if you feel that these medicines should be stored securely, where exactly is that? Then Renee Hershey and Mild 2020 go on to say, this may include the nurses, principals, or even the guidance counselor's office. But the question could be then one of access in emergency or when a student is away from the building, field trip, or recess. This could be an issue because if the teachers, if it is in the teacher's room, there may be lack of security. The medicine could be stolen from the classroom, but if it's in a secure location like the nurse's office, guidance counselor's office, or principal's office, will it be too far in case of an emergency? I don't know. The second con, according to Renee Hershey and Mild 2020, once we make sure items are safe, we now need to look at a plan for administering medications. This is a problem because who is in charge of making that decision? Who will determine if the situation warrants the medication? The third con, according to Renee Hershey and Mild 2020, so how do you give these medications to a student? This is a problem because we don't want to embarrass the student in front of their peers. The medicine should be given in private. If the student is out of control, how will you get them to take the medication is another question. Will you do a shot? Like, how will you get it in their mouth if they're freaking out, you know? We have to restrain them. The fourth con, according to Renee Hershey and Mild 2020, should it include only medical staff? And Renee Hershey and Mild 2020 go on to say, or it should the whole team be in consensus. This can only be an issue if everyone does not know what their role is. In these types of situations, people may be confused on who makes the decision, which can make the situation more chaotic. It is important for everyone to know their role. The fifth con, according to Renee Hershey and Mild 2020, if the medication is provided, what protocols or precautions need to be considered after administration, and what student behaviors need to be present for them to return to class. This is a problem because will the student need to be monitored after the medication? How do we know if the medication's working or not? I think a lot of these cons that I stated are questions that need to be answered in an IEP. The key to the student's success is having all of the people involved in the IEP on the same page to communicate well with one another. That way, everyone on the IEP team is prepared in the event of having to give the student medication and knowing their roles and the type of situation, just so it's not chaotic when the time comes. 5 pros for medication for behavioral problems at school. 1 pro, according to Rainier Hershey and Mile 2020, they also recommend collaborating with families to attempt to limit medication administration to at home versus school and maintaining a pool of licensed substitute medical professionals to provide coverage during absences. I think that medication should mostly be given at school or at home and limited at school. Like, I think the parents should be more in control, but like if we have to, like, you know, should be at school. But that's just the 2nd pro, according to Rainier Hershey and Mile 2020, beyond a plan of intervention for students themselves, school-wide teams also need to understand that policies and procedures are necessary to educate all staff members regarding safety around medications. I think this is a pro because if we educate all the staff, they will have an idea of what to do in case this type of situation presents itself. The 3rd pro, according to Rainier Hershey and Mile 2020, one final area to be considered should be the dignity of the affected student. I think this is a pro because we need to be concerned about the student's dignity. We need to administer the medication in a location that doesn't have their peers watching them. Doing it in front of their peers could really embarrass them. A 4th pro, according to Rainier Hershey and Mile 2020. When plans like these are needed, having access to multidisciplinary approach facilitates better comprehensive care where therapists can report changes in treatments, doctors can elicit feedback before and after dosage adjustments, and so on. I think everyone communicating with one another can get the student quality care because everyone is letting one another know what is going on. The teacher can tell the therapist or the parents can tell the teacher, but I think everyone being in the loop and understanding what's going on will help the student out during times of need. The 5th pro, according to Rainier Hershey and Mile 2020. Finally, self-advocacy should be encouraged as well, where staff members are supporting the students to comfortably and assertively communicate with other about his or her strengths, needs, and why he or she requires support they need. I believe self-advocacy is very important. I want all my students to be able to feel comfortable to tell me their needs. I want to help them to the best of my ability. I want to help them calm down before it gets to the point of them needing medication. A couple myths about medications being used for behavioral problems at school. One myth is that the medication will cure the behavior. This is not true. The student does not learn how to manage the behavior and self-regulate. Then they will, I said this wrong. That it is not true. If a student does not learn how to manage the behavior and self-regulate, then they will continue the behavior. The medication will only relax them or calm them down. Another myth is that if we give them medication, they will not have to go to therapy for their behavior. That is not true. Therapy is important to see what causes the behavior and how to resolve it, and going through the problems and fixing it, actually, instead of just being like, we're going to put medicine over it. No, that doesn't deal with the problem. To conclude, I think that medication should only be given to students if they're going to harm themselves for behavioral. If they need it for like their health or something, then I think it's fine. But I'm just talking about behavioral. If they also need it for concentration, I understand. But I'm just saying like behavioral problems. Also, everyone in the P should discuss who administers the medication, how will they know when to, where the medication should be stored, etc. That way everyone is on the same page. I believe that the student should be taught how to self-advocate. That way the teacher can help them before medication is needed. I do not believe medication will change unwanted behavior by itself. I think students need to learn how to deal with difficult situations and learn how to calm themselves down. Overall, medication should only be used for behavior when the student is in danger or others are in danger. Thank you everyone for tuning into my news program today. Sadly, that will be my last news program. I had fun with all of my news programs that I did, and my name is Rachel Coast, and I am signing off for the last time. Have a great rest of your week, and I just wish you all the best, and be safe out there during COVID. Make sure you social distance everything. All right, have a great, rest of your day. Bye.